Canada is reaping what it sowed. In today's video, we are going to go over some of Mark Carney's announcements. The things that he's saying are not only concerning, at worst, they're flat out lies. So when we go over what he's saying and then see the polls of how the Liberals are still gobbling it up like pigs at the trough, it is insane to me. And then the CBC had to do a video about how young people are going conservative. Well, maybe that's because they don't see a future in Canada, which we will get into that because things are changing, not for the better. And then we have an announcement from Pierre, what he plans on doing with the tariffs and the trade war, his update on that. We are going to dig into what he says. I think there's some important stuff in there, and actually a pretty good political play. And then we have a wildly embarrassing clip of Jagmeet Singh. I do not know how he has supporters, but I see the NDP signs out there on lawns. So let's get into it.
My colleagues have a story today about a Liberal candidate's relations with China-friendly groups and a meeting that you also held with a pro-Beijing group. So my question is, why did you meet with this pro-Beijing group, Jiangsu Commerce Council of Canada? And is the party okay with the fact that Liberal candidate Peter Yun has been so close with the Chinese consulate and China-friendly groups, given public inquiry into foreign interference, says that this is a tactic China uses to exert influence?
Okay, well, I'm sorry, but you can't believe everything you read in the Globe and Mail. So in your question, and I guess in the article in question, you said I had a meeting with whatever your term was, Beijing group. I've never heard of this group, okay? Never heard of this group. Certainly didn't have a set-up meeting with this group. Full stop. So check your sources before you write things like that, okay? Or your colleagues do. I'm a politician. I go to events where there are hundreds and thousands over the course of a day of different people there. That is not a meeting. If somebody happens to be in the room and takes a picture with me, that's not a meeting, okay? First point. Secondly, with respect to Mr. Yun.
So before he gets into defending the MP there, I want to talk about what he said. If we're going to talk about stuff, I need to cover things fairly. And what they're trying to do to Mark Carney in this specific instance is what they just tried to do with Pierre. You know, hey, Pierre, these people donated to your thing. Doesn't that mean you're a bad guy? Well, guess what? The photos that they have as the damning evidence for Mark Carney is him shaking hands at political events in front of everybody. So I don't think we get to beat him up on that stuff. And the reason why it's important, why we only pressure them on things that are true and bad, is because we'll start to lose credibility when we call him out for other things like this. Because what he's about to do, defending the next MP, because when he defended the MP who literally called in a foreign hit squad, yeah, he should be getting beat up for that. When he's defending this new MP, oh, you know, he's a police officer, we're going to get into. He's using the same logic that he was defending the other people. These are the concerning things, because the new MP he's defending is also highly connected to China. So that's important.
This is a person who has served his community for decades. This is a person who's deputy commissioner of the police. Okay, a person in discharge of those responsibilities meets with a variety of community groups in the community because that's his job. That's his responsibility. We're proud to have him as a candidate, and I honor his service, including on today.
So why this one's important, because I just defended Mark Carney, which I don't want to do. Yeah, this guy he's defending, he's like, well, he has to meet with these groups. Does he have to sing in uniform at parties that are celebrating the Communist Party of China? Does he have to do that? Because I don't think that has anything to do with being a Canadian police officer, which the other MP who called in the hit squad was also a police officer. So saying like, well, he served his community. Yeah, he's basically been compromised that entire time. It's not that hard to say. Like, the fact that the Liberals cannot detach themselves from China is insane to me. And we're watching this happen in real time. So Liberals, when this comes out in the future, you guys are all to blame. There's no correcting this, because look at this next announcement that he has here, which again, I actually found funny, because this announcement, in my personal opinion, is like such a slam dunk for like making Pierre look good. And it's showing how broken the Liberals' mindset is, like just absolutely insane.
Mr. Carney, would you cut foreign aid from the current ODA and financing levels? And what is your broader vision for Canada when it comes to global development?
Okay, so the short answer is no. We will. My government will not cut foreign aid, and we will be releasing our platform soon, so you can see that. That is a direct contrast to Mr. Poilievre, who will not just cut foreign aid, but taking his cue from the Americans, he will eliminate foreign aid. He will eliminate foreign aid to those most affected around the world, most punished around the world. He'll eliminate foreign aid by extension to the Middle East, to Ukraine as well. And he will use the money for other purposes, presumably for tax cuts, which is normally what he does when he cuts programs.
Did you hear that? His big concern is Pierre's going to stop foreign aid, and he's going to use that to cut tax for Canadians. Oh, what a bad guy Pierre is by not wanting to send money overseas to Kenya to talk about how to not go to the bathroom on the beach. We are going to save Canadians taxpayer dollars and cut their taxes. Oh, Pierre, you're such a bad guy for wanting to keep that money in Canada helping Canadians. And the fact is, the Liberals eat this up because look at this Polling Canada tweet. Who should get credit for eliminating the carbon tax? Somehow, the Liberals have attributed that idea to Mark Carney, the carbon king himself. He is the guy who put the carbon tax in place, and they want to give him credit for being the one to remove it when it's all his idea and it's coming back. Hey, Liberals, remember this again when if he is to win, which hopefully he does not win, but if he is, pay attention to this, guys, because it's your fault. And this is why there's such a divide in Canada right now, because these guys, nobody's using critical thinking. Pierre's whole campaign was axe the tax. They did it so that they could undercut his campaign. The only reason it was cut was because of Pierre and axe the tax. So seeing that people somehow are giving Carney the credit for this is why you end up with these situations like this video here. And the Elevate podcast put this video together. They actually cut out a bunch from the original video. The original video is 9 minutes long. Here's their clip. We're not going to go over the whole thing. And they brought in a bunch of conservative young male influencers. I didn't get the call, CBC. Is it because I yell at you all the time?
Beatty says he moved out of downtown Vancouver because it was too expensive and because he was assaulted.
But having like a crazed person who's clearly high on something attack me, call the police and have the police look at me and say, there's nothing we can do about it. Yeah, that's a radicalizing experience. And the only people who are capable of living life without having to face that, frankly, are an older generation who live in, protected neighborhoods, who bought into those neighborhoods when those neighborhoods were inexpensive, and who continue to be shielded from the reality that's going on that's being caused by these liberal policies and ideas.
I think they do feel very anxious about the scale and the speed at which change is happening, particularly in societal kind of power structures, right? Like, it may be awkward to say.
So I actually used to live in Vancouver in East Hastings. So Slocan and Hastings was my intersection. And guess what? It was pretty close to where all those guys are doing the running around and stabbing. And while I lived there, somebody was stabbed in the back with a needle. Guys, I'm 6'1", 190 pounds, and I train kickboxing. There's nothing you can do if you get stabbed with a needle. Like, it's so out of your control. So when you see these things and the dangers that are out there, and, the women who have to deal with these being scared, and it's like, again, that's the breakdown in social cohesion of Canada and why things are falling apart and why younger people are going, I don't feel safe. You used to, I don't.
But I think they feel that their place in society is weakening and is maybe not as relevant as it used to be. Right? That the historic advantage that particularly white men have had in our society is been challenged.
Alice Evans is studying how that rapid change has led to a global gender gap.
I think there is a risk that progressive activism has made some men feel alienated.
Evans says young people began polarizing along gender lines when they started spending less and less time socializing in person and more time on social media.
Globally, coupling is down, socializing is down, fertility is down. And that's a totally new dynamic whereby men and women are not necessarily understanding each other's perspectives. So people are spending much more time alone, by themselves, single, and then in these online networks.
Yeah, I just want to make a point. Like, obviously, I'm not an incel. I'm a big fan of trying to reconnect the male and female relationships because, we see out there, women want to find good boyfriends, husbands, men want the same. for girlfriends and wives. So like there's a disconnect here that is happening that's worse. But in Canada in particular, you know, you get attacked as like a young male all the time. Like, well, you're not even Canadian, you know, you're just a colonizer or whatever you want to say. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess my Canadian identity's gone. Oh yeah, but by the way, you also have all the privilege. So, you know, you get kicked to the rocks because of all the privilege. It's like, well, you just said I'm not even Canadian. Now I have all the privilege. Now I don't get anything because of the privilege. So they like eliminate the identities, which was, again, completely liberal controlled, like break down what a Canadian is. There's no reason to care. But I love ladies. So I don't want to be chalked up with the incels because not an incel. Ladies, I am single.
Jobs are being taken.
The backlash to progressive politics has been stoked by online influencers known as the manosphere.
How long before we have an actual sex robot that can talk to you like that?
Probably not long.
It's a corner of the internet where figures like Joe Rogan host hours-long podcasts that are popular with young men.
All this ridiculous woke shit with these rigid ideas of what you have to say and not say. It's like that. None of that is liberal. None of that is really like open-minded or progressive. It's all just it's a cult.
Men may gravitate to guys like Trump or Elon Musk who are saying, hey, the cavalry is here. We're going to cheer for the boys. We're going to champion men's rights. We're going to put men center stage for a change. Because that's an affirming message. So if men feel that they've always been left out and derided and neglected by these exclusionary progressive campaigns,
yeah. And again, that's been happening for at least a decade. I saw it back as early as 2015 when kind of like Jordan Peterson became like the voice for that. And we're seeing that trickle down into Canada and why people are going, well, listen, you've destroyed all this. Like, and why more Canadians than ever are open to being like, okay, we're not Canadian. We're losing all the privilege here. I'm just a colonizer. There's no such thing. I don't care if America takes us over. I fall under the camp where, as of right now, even though I want Canada to be a successful, strong country, I want Canada to be one, like the nation of it, not the economic entity. I would be okay if America took us over, honestly. Like, if you ask me right now, like, snap your fingers, America takes over Canada, I'm snapping my fingers as of right now. On the topic of Trump and America, and Elon Musk. Personally, I don't think Elon Musk is necessarily a symbol of the manosphere. That guy is a hilarious, like, weak dweeb. So, like, to be like, oh, Elon Musk, like, he's championing the men. I don't know about that so much. But here's an important video of Pierre talking about what's going on with the tariffs and the relationship that we have with the U.S. And I actually think he made a really smart political play in this.
But before I get into that conversation today, we have to address once again yesterday's historic mistreatment of Canada by President Trump. I condemn President Trump for keeping the tariffs on Canada, all while he offered a 90-day pause on tariffs for dozens of other countries. It remains a mystery why the president treats Canada worse than dozens of other faraway countries who are not America's best friend.
Okay. Once again, Pierre keeps calling Canada America's best friend. Does this look like something that a best friend would do? Ally with China to counter tariff them? I understand that we're not supposed to just get walked over by the states, but for some reason, it was just us in China. And also, from a political perspective, 60-70% of the country right now, including Canadian conservatives, are so anti-America and so anti-Trump that it is bringing swing voters over to Carney because he's being associated as the anti-Trump guy. Well, guess what? That's saying we're not their best friend, because if Canadians are so mad at America, so mad at Trump, that we are willing to choose the wrong leader just to try and attack America, that doesn't sound like we're trying to be their best friend. So again, and comment down below. I know you've heard people say this, and I know you've said it yourself. Canadians have always said, well, at least we're not American. We have had this attitude that we are better than Americans, so much so that the liberal boomers are literally throwing their grandkids into the fire, sacrificing them at the altar of their Trump derangement symptoms. And it's like insane. So for us to be like, we're America's best friend, although we are voting specifically based on how much we don't like America.
And this, of course, happened after Prime Minister Carney boasted that he had had a productive call with President Trump and that he had made, quote, progress. What progress? There are more tariffs American tariffs on Canada today than there were when Prime Minister Carney took office, while dozens of other countries have secured pauses. Now, I'm not blaming Mr. Carney for the fact that there are even more American tariffs on Canada now than there were when he took office, or for the fact that other countries got a pause in tariffs while he failed to secure one here in Canada.
Could that have anything to do with the fact that we were allying ourselves with China and being super combative with them?
We will all work to end the tariffs on day one after the next election, regardless of who wins. But that's why the fact is that Mark Carney and no one else controls Donald Trump. That's why Carney's biggest election promise and distraction are empty. He's telling you to forget about the lost Liberal decade of rising costs, crime, taxes, and housing prices, because he's somehow a magical negotiator. But we're learning that that is not true. He does not control President Trump. No one does.
100% President Trump is going to do his own thing. And this was, I got to give Pierre's team or whoever decided to write this, this was great. Because what he did is he said, hey, Carney's whole thing is that he's going to handle Trump. He's not handling him. That's why you're voting him. I just yelled about how Canadians are going, well, Carney's the guy to deal with Trump. No, he's not. Carney's got us in a worse position from how he's dealing with Trump. He's not this sick negotiator like Pierre's team's saying. So them going, hey, look, he's the anti-Trump guy. He's getting smoked. I think Pierre's team's doing the right thing by not going as anti-Trump right now, because then they position themselves. Pierre's team has been more, we're not anti-Trump, we're pro-Canada, which I am in the same boat. I'm not anti-Trump at all. I'm pro-Canada. I would love Canada to do well. So seeing these things are really, really good because it's productive, and as well, it's showing that Carney and his team are doing the wrong things, and that's their main stance right now. So it's impressive to see, not that the Liberals are going to care, because you see Carney make his announcement here.
President Trump is looking to fundamentally restructure the international trading system. And just yesterday, he announced a pause on what is called a global set of reciprocal tariffs for all countries but China. And while that's a welcome reprieve for the global economy, the impacts of other tariffs and the threat of future tariffs are already being felt around the world and here at home. So the stakes have never been higher for our economy. In light of the evolving situation after today's campaigning, I will return to Ottawa. I will convene a meeting, including the Minister of National Defense, our Committee on Canada, U.S. Relations and National Security tomorrow.
So what he keeps doing, which is a shame, but every time Trump flip-flops, Carney gets to pause his campaign, which is good for Carney because he keeps saying the wrong things. He answers questions poorly, and every time he, opens his mouth, he shows that he's flipping, flopping, and he's a liar. So him getting to pause to take on Trump and deal with this always just helps him. It's very annoying.
In Canada, there are tariffs that remain in place. Those tariffs are threatening our families, our workers, and our businesses. And while they have been imposed under different pretenses, they all are unjustified, unwarranted, and misguided. So we've been responding, and we are responding with purpose and force. We will fight, we will protect, and we will build. We have agreed to begin negotiations between the Prime Minister and the President immediately following the election, and we will ensure that the ground for those negotiations is constructive while we stand firm with our workers, protecting our workers, and building this economy. Look,
you guys know that there's massive tariffs from China right now that nobody's talking about. We're pretending like it doesn't exist. We have the Prime Minister here going, oh, look, we got tariffs on aluminum. What about the Chinese tariffs? I haven't heard him talk about those, not even once.
The stakes have never been higher because it's not just about our trading relationship with the United States. It isn't an accident that I spoke to President von der Leyen today because there is an interest in deepening our trading relationship with the European Union, with the United Kingdom, with like-minded partners in Asia. And the question is, one of the big questions in this election is who's going to protect Canadians, but also who's going to represent Canada at those negotiations. Who's going to
Here we are, guys. For the Liberals, if anybody watches this, here he is making an announcement saying, one, he always brings up the security relationship between Canada and the US, quite concerning. Two, he's specifically saying we're going to be reaching out to these other nations. Canada's going to be more global, which means Canada is going to probably do worse. This Liberal team is not going to be the one to lead us to prosperity. They've been in charge for 10 years, Liberals. It's the same team. It's the same guys. Are you guys not getting this? You not hearing this? So it's so embarrassing that like Canadians are that easy to fool. What's more embarrassing is this Jagmeet Singh clip, because guess what? Like I said, in my neighborhood, I'm seeing NDP signs. So watching this guy is like, I cannot speak more poorly about a Canadian politician than Jagmeet Singh.
We're gonna jump together, okay? We're gonna jump on the chorus, all right? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready to jump? Okay, we're gonna jump together at the chorus. When the chorus comes, I want this floor to shake. I want the floor to shake, okay? When the chorus comes, we're all gonna jump together. Get ready, everybody. We're gonna show them that we're ready. We're ready to fight. We're ready to win. Here we go. Get ready. Get ready. Get warmed up. Get warmed up. Here we go. Here we go. Let's go. Ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Dude.
Here we go. 1,
they're ready.
2, 3. Yes!
Okay, so this lady does not look like she's having a good time sitting in the wheelchair there as they all jump around her, which, you know, probably not the best optics for Jagmeet there. There are adults who get to vote who think that this guy is going to be the best leader for Canada. He's for sure the worst option. But anyways, if you made it this far in the video, you absolutely rock. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're trying to grow here, get this message out in front of more people. So have a great rest of your day.